um, briefly. So, hear about the story where the young lady, beautiful young lady on the internet, in these internet streets, was talking about how her mother-in-law, she was talking about how her dad, no, her husband passed. She was talking about how her husband passed in a tragic car accident, and say when she called to notify her mother-in-law, she said that her mother-in-law told her that that was supposed to be her and not her son. She didn't grieve. She didn't cry, according to the story. The mom didn't, wasn't devastated. The mom straight up said it was supposed to be that young lady and not her son. But because she prayed too much, that's why whatever they were trying to do spiritually would not work. Let me tell y'all something. I don't care who you are. If you don't believe in prayer and that prayer works, you have to believe again. You have to come again. Because when I heard that young lady's story, and I'm not going to go into details here, I know for a fact for that to be true. When people can't, and I talked about this the other day, when people can't harm you physically, they will try to harm you spiritually. When they can't unalive you physically because they know they will go to prison, they know they will go to jail, people really don't care anymore. It depends on how far they have allowed them to use them. But when I tell you, you have to stay prayed up. You cannot be spiritually lazy, right? You cannot be spiritually lazy to where you're not praying. Because unfortunately, you have a lot of people, a lot of in-laws out here that hate their daughter-in-laws. One, let me tell you, why they hate them so much and they want to unalive them spiritually. Some would do it physically if they could, right? One is because they can't control that daughter-in-law. See, they want to control that daughter-in-law, and that daughter-in-law will not bend and bow to their rules, to their ways, to their, agenda. So they're hated for that. Two, they feel like you have taken their husband away from them. Their son is their spiritual husband. Right? That's number two. Number three is because they're just evil and wicked. Their hearts are wicked. So, one thing about these spirits, they're very prideful. Their only agenda is to do the work of their father. And that is to kill, steal, and destroy. They don't care about no one else hurt, pain, but their own. They're not thinking about the children. You see how that lady was planning to do all this wickedness to that young lady, and she had children? She was a mother. These spirits don't care nothing about that. Those wicked, evil-hearted women, they don't care anything about that. They're very prideful and they want what they want. They don't care about, because this is what evil does. Evil has no empathy. They want to kill, steal, and destroy. And if they could destroy you and get away with it, they will. She wasn't considering the children, that those children would be motherless. She wasn't considering her grandchildren because her son had children from his wife as well, although she had a child before. If I find the story, I'll pin it here in the description. I'll pin it in the comment section. But when you're dealing with this wickedness, these people don't care. They don't even care about their own children. They can hate the daughter-in-law so much, they will put spells on their own children. They will put spells and witchcraft on their own grandchildren just to get back at the person who they hate the most, who they feel is in the way. And this is why you have to stay prayed up. You have to stay covered. You have to identify your sin and come out of your sin. Don't be in unforgiveness. Don't be in willing sin. Because if you're in willing sin, those are doors that gives them access to harm you. Because a curse without a cause will not stand. They can go spend all kind of money and see who they want to see. Even learn some little Barnes and Noble spells. But if you're in good standing spiritually, them curses are going to fall to the ground. Actually, they're going to return. You don't even have to say return to sender. Because whatever you sow, you shall reap. So make sure you are spiritually prayed up. Make sure you're not spiritually lazy. You have to pray. Even if it's just a short prayer, you have to pray. You must pray. Because wickedness is rising and increasing. People are not hiding things anymore. These wickedness used to be able to hide under the surface, right? But how bold that girl's mother-in-law told her, just boldly, it was supposed to be you. She couldn't hide it anymore. She just had to let it be known what she was doing. But because she prays, and I know prayer works, I know for a fact, but because she prays and she really has a true relationship with God, she was protected. And the curse that the mother-in-law was trying to put on her hit her child, hit her own child. Because when you do those curses, they got to go somewhere. This is why you have to cover your children. You have to intercede for your children, because say it's an in-law, right? Your mother-in-law is doing this to you. Her mother-in-law was doing this to her. Now, if she didn't have children, the mother-in-law, who knows, and said the curse would have, the residue of the curse would have went to the grandkids. Because when you open the door, you open the door on your bloodline. So that stuff may hit your kids who are part of that wicked spirit's bloodline. And your kids are innocent, but because they are connected to that bloodline, these spirits and evils will fall on your children. So you have to teach your children how to repent. Because we all are dealing with stuff that our grandparents did, our parents did, that we don't know anything about. We're dealing with that. We're paying the price for that. All those little secret sins and secret agendas and evil things they have done before we were born. Some of us are paying for that. If you're not repenting, if you're not praying, if you're not repenting for the sins of your ancestors and forefathers, if you're not breaking those, curses. But yes, find that story. If I find it, I'm going to pin it in the description here or the comments. But that mother-in-law, she was bold to tell her that. And see, I know that to be true, because them spirits are very bold. They can't hide themselves. I've dealt with that. People don't know the half. They don't know what you deal with spiritually, and you can't explain it to people who don't understand spiritual things. So you just don't talk about it. You don't talk about all the things you have dealt with to people who are not spiritual. Who don't believe that, because they'll think you cuckoo. They'll think you cuckoo, you know? So you have to make sure that you stay prayed up. And you can't be spiritually lazy. You just can't, because if not, them spirits will take over. They will take advantage of you. You got to close all doors. Any door you have open to sin, you have to close that door. And keep praying over your children. Because like I said, them spirits are very prideful. They don't care about anybody but themselves. They want what they want. They don't care that they're destroying the family. They don't care that they're hurting their children. They don't care that they're hurting their grandchildren, because they don't have a heart. They don't have any feelings. Like, you think a devil going to care about them destroying someone else when they don't have feelings? And you have to look at these people. When you look at these people who are evil and who are operating in this wickedness, they look like they operating in that wickedness. Now, some of them now don't. Right? Some of them don't. I call them the low vibrational ones. But them ones that are high ranked and who are making, good money, that they're beautiful. Like, you got some beautiful witches out there. And you will be shocked. Right? But the ones who are low vibrational and who are taking out loans and spending all their retirement to hurt someone else, they look like what they're doing. They have no vibrancy about them. They have no joy about them, no good energy. They don't look as if they have a life. They look lifeless. They're mean-spirited, mean. When people are mean-spirited for no reason and just mean, that's because they're evil. You upset at people for no reason. You don't like people for no apparent reason, just because they're vibrant or they're happy or they're energetic. You got to check yourself. But the main point I wanted to come make is, make sure you stay prayed up. Stay prayed up. Don't be spiritually lazy. Because in this season of time, you're going to need prayer and discernment to navigate these people, navigate these different spirits. Because it's getting real. People are manifesting right before your eyes. They're manifesting. Look at all this craziness going on in the world. People unaliving their spouses. People unaliving their children. People unaliving their parents. Like, wickedness is really, right? People are really, like, allowing the enemy to use them. So you have to close the doors. Close all doors and continue to pray. Pray over your home. Pray over your children. Be speaking up and watching what your children are watching, and watching what they bring into your house. Because believe it or not, your children are giving your home access to these different spirits too. Because they don't know. If you're not teaching them, they don't know. They think it's just innocent. And they think it's not that bad. Oh, this is your mom, you being too deep. You being too much. No. Not being too much. They just haven't experienced the things that I'm talking about. But also, they need to be aware that these things are real. Although they haven't experienced them, because mommy is praying and protecting them, there is going to be a day that I'm not here. And they have to be able to identify this stuff and know how to combat it and fight it. And you don't want to live in fear. You don't want them in fear, but they also need to be aware. You have to be aware. And that's why the enemy is using children to disrespect the parents, to come against the parents. That's why you see all this back and forth going on against the parents, because the enemy don't want the kids to be covered. He wants to use them. Hey, Robin. Let me know if you like my book. Did you read the book yet? It's an easy read. I would love your feedback. But he wants to use them. Yes, and it's biblical. D-Town, the goddess, it's biblical. And my grandmother used to tell me the same thing. I really thought she was cuckoo. I'm gonna be honest. I thought my grandmother was cuckoo. And we usually tend to think our parents and grandparents are crazy, especially if they're spiritual and they believe in God. We tend to want to write them off as off the wall. But my grandmother was ahead of her time. The things she talked about, what happened, is I'm in it. I'm living that. I'm living. I get to see the things she was talking about then. I'm looking at it now, unfolded in my face. And she's been gone 23 years. And it's here. No, we did not understand them. No, we didn't. But the thing is, we have to do what our grandparents and my grandparents raised me. We have to do what they did. Even if our children think we are crazy, we still have to teach them and let them know. They may look at us like we're crazy. They may get mad at us. We still have to teach them and let them know. Sometimes the enemy will use them to cut us off. They don't want to deal with us. Now they got no contact. You got some people going no contact with their parents. But that's okay, because as long as you tell them the truth, they're going to have to learn the hard way. They will have to learn themselves, and you may be dead and gone, but they're going to get that message my mama was trying to tell me. And it's going to be too late, but they're going to get the lesson. That lesson's still going to be there. One thing I am going to do is tell the truth. My kids won't be able to say, my mama never told me that. No, we won't be able to tell and teach them everything either. We won't. But at the same time, we have to tell them what we know and what we know to be true. We do have to do that. We have to tell them what we know and what we know to be true. Because these children are going to be in a fight. And if they don't know how to fight in this wicked world, they're going to be sucked up. They got to know how to stand. They got to know how to, push back, fight back, say no, go the other way. They have to know how to have self-control, emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence. Because at any moment, people could be used by the enemy. Like I hear people say the devil, these spirits are jumping bodies. It is. It's true. They go from person to person. Whoever's available to be used at that moment, he's going to use them. I took my son to the dentist this morning, and we didn't get services done because what I intended, what I spoke to the billing coordinator about, before I got there, when I got there, she was acting as if we didn't speak about that, right? But anyways, I saw that the enemy wanted to use them, right? And they were so shocked and surprised that I was so calm. You know, people sometimes be looking for you to get upset instead of having a conversation and clarifying yourself and getting an understanding. They want you to get upset. So we didn't get the services done. I just told them, you know, don't worry about it, because that wasn't what we spoke about. And I just canceled the appointment. I canceled the appointment and moved on. But there was one girl in there, she was waiting to get all, you know, fired up. And I'm like, no, I'm not on that. That takes too much energy. That's too low. That's low vibrational. I'm not going there. I'm gonna have a conversation. I don't have time to be exerting all my good energy on something that is not going to, I'm not going to lose sleep over this. This is not going to change my life one way or another. I wasted some time, right? But it's not going to alter my life in any way. So I'm not going to give you all of my good energy. I am not. And they were shocked. They were just looking. They were waiting for something to happen. They were just looking, waiting for me, especially being a black woman too. I'm going to just say that. Especially being a black woman. They're waiting for you to pop off and be angry and be ghetto and be... I'm like, all right, thank you. I'm like, well, you know, I'm like, don't worry about it. I said, we just, you know, I'll make another appointment somewhere else. And I left it as that. I said, you guys are not going to bill me, right? Because he didn't see the doctor. They did take an x-ray of his mouth on the side that he had the issue, but... And then I didn't like the energy in there anyways, you know. They were really not sanitary. Me and my son was looking like they need to dust in here. Like it wasn't appealing. It didn't feel welcoming anyway. So when I'm like that in my spirit, I don't have to have a for sure answer, right? When something is off, I know to pay attention to it. Exactly. Prayer changed mine. Yes, prayer and meditation too. I do. I pray and meditate like the Lord tell me. I find when I'm in my devotion in the morning prayer, I find the scripture that I can just recite in my mind over and over, or I write it until I can remember it. But I know prayer. I know prayer helped me, because these spirits, they're lifeless. So if you have all that energy, good energy, they can come steal that from you. And I was listening to a guy on I think it was on not YouTube, on Instagram. Somebody posted it, and the guy was talking about how when you basically argue with someone else, and I know it to be true because I tested it on myself. When you argue with someone, when someone get you riled up, right? When someone gets you riled up, you all are swapping positions. You're swapping, not really destinies, but you're exchanging energy. They become you and you become them. That's why unforgiveness is spirit. I mean, not unforgiveness. That's why forgiveness is spiritual. Forgiveness is spiritual. And when you forgive, you're letting go. But when you don't forgive, guess what? You're holding on to all that wickedness of that person. Anything that person got going on, you are picking that up. And I know it to be true, because when I was in unforgiveness and I just was mad at certain people, I was mad at certain people because of the mistreatment, because of the lies. You know, when people lie on you, you don't like that. But once God started showing me spiritually how this thing was affecting me, I don't hold no grudge. I don't care what you do. If it's hard for me to let go, I'm going to take that thing in prayer. Lord, help me. You take this. Help me to let this go. Because I was becoming angry. And I'm not an angry person. You probably could feel my spirit through, you know, my energy through this YouTube here, through this camera. I'm very energetic. I'm very, like, I won't say bubbly, but I do have high energy. And I noticed when I was in unforgiveness, I was drained. I was looking like unforgiveness. I was looking broke down, angry. I started looking mean, and I had this I was looking dull. Okay. I'm gonna be honest. I was looking dull. I was looking dull. I was looking ashy. Okay. I didn't exude this, radiate this joy that I have. I was angry. I was upset. My energy was low. I was so low vibrational. Very. And that wasn't me. And the reason I was like that, because I was in unforgiveness. All the people who I had a grudge against, who I was holding on to what they've done to me, all the people who I was holding on unforgiveness against, I was picking up on their energy. I was picking up on their energy. I was so angry. And then you ruminate when you're in unforgiveness. You ruminate. You think about what they have done to you all day, all night. That consumes you. I had to let that go. I was like, Lord, you're gonna have to do something about this. I started taking that thing to prayer every night until he took that thing away from me. Every night, every day, I'm giving it up. Lord, take this away from me, until it was taken away. Until he started teaching me, bless those who curse you. Lord, bless them. Because it's spiritual. You holding on to unforgiveness, that ain't doing nothing for you physically. But spiritually, it's wearing you out. When I master that spiritual piece, oh, you can't get me to hold no grudge against you. You can't get me to be mad. I ignore you. Before I let you get me mad, I ignore you. Because that's too much to carry. It is too much to carry. And the peace and the joy that I have, I won't trade that for nothing. I won't trade that for nothing. And when you're in unforgiveness, you're taking on all their anger. You're taking on all their worries. You're taking on all their fears. And I was so fearful. And I'm like, that's not me. I was fearful. And I'm carrying their energy. I gave them back their stuff. I was like Oprah. Y'all can say what you want to say about her. You know how Oprah was like, you get a car, you get a car. No, you get it back. You get it back. You get it back. Look, I gave all them their stuff back. And I went and picked up my joy. You ever notice when people mistreat you, they don't swap that with you? When them demons were provoking me, and when I was upset, and when they was making me angry, I saw them get happy. They took my energy. They sitting over there happy and tootling and whistling, you know. Look, they sitting over there tootling and whistling and you know, whistling while they work. Scoops, you know, skipping on off. Yeah, skipping on off with my good energy. And I'm sitting there mad, depressed. I ain't never been going through no depression. And that's not me. Sitting there moping, sitting there fearful. I'm a go-getter. I'm a go-getter. I'm always doing something. I rest now, but I'm always creating. I'm a creative. God made me to create. I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't want to do none of my passion projects. I didn't want to work on nothing God put in me. I was just doom and gloom, down and out. But I fought that thing. I fought that thing through prayer, fasting, getting delivered, reading, journaling. I was like, Lord, whatever I have to do, I'm going to do it. Because I can't be held down. I can't be stuck in a funk because I gave some low vibrational demons the power over me. Oh, no, ma'am. I had to fight. When I tell you, I've been fighting all my life. I came out fighting them spirits. And they look at me now, they shocked. Why you so happy? Because I forgave you. I gave you back your stuff. That's why you depressed now, because I gave you back your depression. I gave you back that fear. And I went and got my bags. You get these depressed bags. Let me get my joyful bags. Let me get my peaceful bag. Let me give you back that depression. I gave them back. I gave them back their stuff. And then I tell you, I gave them back. Okay? You get your demons. Let me pick up my angels. You get them spirits, them negative spirits. Let me pick my peace back up. I went and got my peace. I went and snatched all my stuff back. Everything. Let me get that. Like we used to say, you know how in the South, if y'all from the South, they be like, let me get that. I got all my stuff back. Okay? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not playing around with no spirits. That's why I don't play around with people. When I see people and they show me who they are, I believe them because I done went through too much and I fought too hard to get myself up out of that. It was me and the Lord and a few, my one friend and my church family. I'm gonna put my church family and my one of my best friends constantly praying and helping me get out of that. No. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh yes. When I tell you I feel good too, I sleep good. I'm more joyful. I mean, like the energy when you know you peaceful and whole within yourself, you got people, they'll look at you and then they'll speak. They just speak. They don't know how they speaking. You become more magnetic. You become more favored. People want to suck up what you have. Now, just because you in high energy, don't think them demons ain't watching you too. Right? Them spirits watching you because they wanna take part of what you have. But I got so many spiritual walls up. I'm like that place that they got secured in the military. Somebody told me the name of it. I can't remember the name of it. My spiritual walls up so high. I got a border around me. I don't play around with them spirits. I don't play around with them because I know they want to steal, kill, and destroy. That spirit was out to take my mind. That spirit was out to take my mind. And when I was in my little, when I was in that energy, that low energy place, when they had dumped all that stuff off on me, all them spirits, oh, they were happy. Look, them spirits, they were happy. When you're down and out, watch how people are around you. When you're going through grief, when you're going through your own life circumstances, when you're going through challenges with your children, watch how if people get extremely happy around you, you better watch them kind. If they're not grieving when you grieve, and if they're not mourning with you, and they all of a sudden got this joy, them people not for you. They hate you. I'm gonna be honest. You can take it how you want to. You can they hate you. If they're not in it with you, them spirits out to get you. They really are. They really are. Exactly. And that's the thing. Whenever you are chosen and whenever you have an anointing and a gift, you're going to always be fighting. I had to realize that you're going to always be fighting. But what you have to learn is how to fight. You have to learn how to fight. You can't fight their way because he going to send them big boys after you. The enemy always going to be, he got plenty of people to use. He'll send people to lie on you. He'll send people to put your name in stuff that you ain't even involved in. He will send people to assassinate your character because you seem too perfect. So he'll send people to assassinate your character. He always go. That's his major weapon, is to assassinate your character because they can't find anything else on you. You're not doing nothing outlandish like they are. You're not doing anything outlandish. So they're going to try to go for your character. They're going to mess up your character. They're going to try to change how people see you. And the only thing you got to pray, Isaiah 54:17, keep praying that. Condemn every tongue rising up against you. Even if the weapon form, say they got people to try to look at you different. Even when them weapons form, they will not prosper. You let God, you ask God to change all of this in my favor. I did that one time when God blew my mind. God blew my mind. It was this one spirit came in a situation. I don't want to say too much because I don't know who watching. But anyway, it was one spirit came in. I mean, blatant lies. blatant lies about everything. But see, God had already showed me this would happen. I just didn't know when. He showed me it would happen. So I was already praying. I was already fasting. And when he showed me what was happening and correlated it to the dream, oh, I pray. I was like, Lord, let this work out in my favor. Show me you, God. Show me what my daddy could do. I said, show me what my daddy could do. And when I tell you, my daddy did his big one. He did his big one. He showed out so bad. I'm like, look at God. Look at my God. I don't care what nobody else say. This is the God I'm talking about right here. Oh, that's a good one. I mean, she didn't come from that area, that girl, no. No, she didn't come from that area. But he worked it out in my favor. And I'm like, look at God. And I kept my cool. I kept my composure. I didn't get mad. I didn't get no attitude. I continued to be great. I continued doing what I was doing. I know I want to tell it too. It's a good testimony. I tell you it's a powerful testimony. It's a powerful testimony. When I tell you I knew God, I knew he heard my prayers. I knew I was walking in the right path, on the right, path. And I knew where I was supposed to be there at that time. I knew where I was supposed to be there at that time. But just imagine if I wasn't spiritually connected. Just imagine if I wasn't praying and the person did all of that. I would have been like, I know you being all hood and, getting all upset and letting them control me and have me upset. No, I kept my composure. I kept it spiritually classy up in there. You hear me? I kept it classy. I didn't bend. I didn't fold. And them spirits wanted me to. And then people around me, I had to shut the doors to their gossip because they wanted me to trip up too. Right? People who knew about the situation. I ain't gonna say people, a person who knew about what I'm talking about. I could tell she allowed the spirit to use her too. Because she was saying little stuff. So I had to close that door. I had to shut that down. When you're spiritually connected, you can see the spirits operating behind people, and you know how to shut it down. That girl was so she was good though. She was good. One thing I know about the devil. Look, one thing I know about the devil. When they can't control you, oh, they get big mad. When they can't control you and you march to your own beat, you're not intimidated by them. You don't fear them because people want you to fear them as if they're God. When they can't, threaten to take things away from you, and you like, okay, if that's gonna make you feel good, do it. You're not gonna have me losing sleep because I'm just gonna go cry to my dad and he gonna look out for me. Whatever you want to do, you do it. And I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna, ask. I'm gonna use God's word to help me out. You can do what you want to do and stay in that low vibrational place, but I'm gonna go ahead and elevate spiritually over here. You do what you want to do. And when I start mastering, I'm not all the way there, but I say I'm 91%. 91. To where I understand the enemy, he wants you to, I have to even do it with my son, my 14-year-old. I got a 14-year-old, and the enemy use him all the time. He use him all the time. And then too, I have to understand, he still got to learn how to manage his emotions, and I'm still teaching him. And I'm teaching him by example. I don't let him get me all hot because he hot. I said I have to stay calm. Like the other day, he get up, his alarm didn't go off, so he missed the bus. So he was like, oh my God, oh, doing all this extra, he doing all this extra. I'm like, son, just calm down. It is what it is. You didn't set your alarm on your phone, or you didn't bring your phone to where you can hear it. Calm down. Calm down. And he saw that I was calm, and it's not that big of a deal. Only thing I had to do, I couldn't work out because I had to, get my shower, get ready for work, and drop him off to school on my way to work. But to teach him that he don't have to go zero to 100 because of something that just happened. Things happen. But teaching him to control his emotions, because people love to provoke your emotions. My phone ran hot. Look, my phone ran hot, so yeah, my phone blinked out because it went hot, ran hot, so I had to cool it off to get back. But anyways, it was nice talking to you all. It was nice talking to you all. I appreciate you all for coming in with me, trying to get you all from up my nose. I appreciate you all for coming, listening in to my live. And but the phone, my phone ran hot, and I had to let it cool off, because when you have it on a dashboard and the sun is radiating, and that radiation, the heat is beaming off the dashboard, and I have my stand, so it ran it hot. But I enjoyed talking to you. I didn't plan on coming this time, but somebody needs to hear that. I started out with the story about the girl who said her mother-in-law was trying to put witchcraft on her and ended up losing her own child. But the point is, stay prayed up, trust God, believe that prayer is covering you. Prayer is powerful. It's a shield. You have to continue praying, even when you don't feel like it. Even if you don't feel like it's doing anything, you must believe that it's doing something. You got to believe. I know prayer works, and sometimes we're not going to always get the outcome we want, but there is a protection. Oh, it does protect you. It does protect you. So you want to be blessed, and I will. Yes. Go go listen to the front. I'm gonna see if I can find the video. The girl did an entire 4-part series on YouTube. I think she was from TikTok, but I did see somebody post it on YouTube. But if I go find it, I am going to pin it in my comments here. I'll pin the link so you all can go watch it. But it's a powerful story. You have to listen. I know that girl was praying, because her story, I can relate to it so much. When you have a relationship with God, a prayer, when you have a prayer life, you get intel. Okay? You get intel, and people wondering how you know stuff. Ain't nobody telling you nothing. The Spirit telling you. God will show you in a dream. He'll show you in a vision. He'll show you. You just know. When you have a relationship, you know. That's why they tell you, don't play with spiritual people, because either they'll dream it, they gonna sense it, they gonna see it. Just don't play around with spiritual folks. They know. And when I mean spiritual, when you have a relationship with God, yes, you got other type of spirits out there, but I'm talking about the ones who connected to God. When you have a prayer life, he definitely will give you intel. Definitely. And I do that a lot, D-Town. The God is like, I pay attention. If my spirit don't feel right, I'm paying attention to it. Because no one, we got to remember, no one really taught us to really pay attention to that. They always made us feel bad because we felt a certain way about certain people or certain family members. Like even some of our parents would make us go hug people as children we didn't want to hug, or stay to people's houses we didn't want to stay to, because we felt them spirits. We felt that energy. I remember my daughter, I had took my daughter somewhere. She was about 3. I took her somewhere where she should have wanted to go, I took my baby in that place, My baby cried like there were no tomorrow. And I never take her back there again. I never made her stay nowhere. Whenever my kids cried, I didn't force them to stay places they didn't feel comfortable. They didn't want to be. I never took my daughter back. Never. And I'm glad I didn't, because in that situation, that person was wicked. That person was wicked, yes. And I could have just imagined probably what she probably have done to my baby, or what my baby sensed. You know, when people don't like you, they don't like your kids. I don't care if it is their grandmother. I don't care if it is their auntie. I don't care if whoever it is. If the people don't like you, they're not going to like those children. I don't care who it is. We got to stop being so foolish, thinking if your sister don't like you, you know, your sister hates your guts, your mama hates your guts, your grandma hates your guts, but they got a love for your baby. Oh no, it don't go that way. Because to hate me is to hate my child. That's my blood. So there's no telling what you will do, what manipulation you'll do to my baby. No, we got to stop being foolish. We got to stop being foolish. No, we got to stop being foolish. That's foolish to think that a person could hate you but love your child. Where do we get that thinking from? We've been so desensitized, we can't think for ourselves no more. No, that you can't do that. That's impossible. Impossible. People will do anything if they hate you. They will do anything to harm you. And if they can't get to you, they will harm your children. They will harm your children. If they can't harm them directly, they'll harm them indirectly. Speak curses on them. Teach them to go against the parents so they can be cursed. Keep them in this low vibrational state. Don't want them to excel. Don't want them to thrive. Speaking curses over them. Oh, when I come out my full testimony, y'all gonna know. Y'all gonna know God love me. Y'all gonna know God is with me. When I come out full blown, no holding back, it is what it is, testimony, it's gonna go on the books first. I am writing some books. I do have a book called How to Play the Cards You've Been Dealt. And I just published a second one, 10 Things I Wish I Knew Before I Said I Do, What No One Told Me About Marriage. I have quite a few books I'm working on. So a lot of my books will have a lot of the testimonies and information I'm talking about, because it's my truth. I'm sure they are, because you probably broke some generational curses. Family be the main ones. They don't want your children to be successful. They'll sit there and support them in their low vibrational state. I went through that too. I went through that with my oldest son. And he just thought that his family was just supporting him because he just so favored and loved. No, they want you to be stuck, busted and disgusted, and don't want you to thrive, because that gives them something to talk about. That gives them something. Oh, he learned though. He learned. And unfortunately, your kids have to learn. They got to learn who's going to be for them and who mean them well. I've only wanted the best for my kids. As a mom, I only wanted that because I didn't have my mom there. I didn't have my mom. My grandmother raised me. So for my kids, I wanted to do something better, and I raised them way better than, I was raised. I nurtured, loved my kids, encouraged them, and attended events, protected them as much as I could, especially with him, because when I had him, I was 19, and you think people have his best interests, and they don't. And I really didn't know, Because when you're 19, you still a baby yourself. But I can say that I was a good mom and I didn't abuse my son, okay? And his problem was he probably was overly loved too, because sometimes you can give your kids too much and that can ruin them too, you know? But, I was a young mom, so I don't, what is it? I don't hold myself to, I don't regret anything. I don't beat myself up over things, right? Yeah, I don't beat myself up over things that I didn't do and all that. I'm not that type of person. I'm the type that I want to correct it, own up to whatever I did and move on. But yeah, but he found out. And sometimes you have to let that, you got to let that happen. You got to let people find out for themselves who's really for them and who's not. Like, I never spoke ill over my kids. I never spoke down that, oh, you're not going to be this or you're not going to be that, because I know how powerful words are. But other people spoke curses over him, who's supposed to love him. Yeah. But you got to let your children live and learn. Yep, they have to live and learn, and that's part of life. Just like I had to learn, I had to realize he got to learn his lesson. Exactly. And it's a blessing. And that's what any mother wants. Any mom wants their children to be successful. I'm always there to help my kids do better than me. Right? I wanted all my kids to do better than I did. That's why I provided them with an environment that would support them to help them be successful, because your environment matters too. So I didn't grow them up in the environment how I was brought up in. Right? I didn't bring them up in that. So they had the opportunities that I didn't have. But when you have people around you who are jealous, who don't want to see your kids do good, who are not doing good themselves, they're not going to support you in what you are trying to do and the goals and plans you have for your children. They're not going to support you. And if they can influence them in any type of way to go opposite, if they can influence them to go opposite or against everything you're trying to teach them, those people are not for you. They're not for you. And that's why you have to be careful who you allow your children to be influenced by or be around, But see, I was young. I didn't know the people who I allowed him to go around didn't have his best interest. And, that's okay. He got to learn, now he's an adult. So as long as I know I can rest in peace and knowing I did my part, and not regretful, not bitter, not saying if I coulda, shoulda, woulda, I don't have them regrets. No. I'll take, one thing about me, I'll take responsibility and accountability for my stuff, but I'm not taking accountability for no one else's stuff. Exactly. And I thank God for the lesson, But yeah, let me go. I got to go pick up my baby. It was nice talking to you. I said that 30 minutes ago. When I get on these lives, I just be going on and on and on and on. On and on. I'm going to try to do 5 minutes next. I'm going to try to do 5 minutes next time. That 5 minutes is going to turn into 5 hours probably. So you all be blessed. Thank you all for listening in, and have